So, what about instruments? Like, what instrument were you playing then? When you got to the Royal Academy in London, and how's that changed and developed?
Well, I think for the young players now, it's a golden time. There's so many good instruments being built. It's much more difficult for the makers because it's very hard to make a living. You just can't sell enough because if you want to even pay a mortgage, you have to charge a reasonable price. But at that time, I had a cheap guitar basically a factory guitar from Spain. And it was not very good in comparison to all my friends. And it makes a big difference, but at that time, there was no money. So I was lucky that in 1975, so it was just the year I finished at the academy. Can you understand when I'm talking? Okay. Sorry, I'll go slower and try to project my voice. No, I won a competition. And that competition, the prize was a Ramirez guitar, and it did make a big difference, because when you have an instrument that doesn't offer you very much, you don't ask very much of it, in terms of phrasing, and I was fighting to get what I wanted out of the music, and it was probably reasonably okay for a young player. But I remember the 2 years after I had the Ramirez, I think I made a big jump. Not only because of the instrument, but that was one of them, one of the reasons.
Well, you're not limited anymore.
That's right, and you can no longer have that excuse if the sustain isn't good enough or if the volume isn't good enough. It's no longer the instrument's fault, it's your own fault. And so if you're playing an instrument, the same instrument that Segovia was playing, or it made a huge difference.
Of course. So what's in the case today?
This one, okay. So this is built by Matthias Damann, who's a German maker. This ugly-looking thing on there is actually quite important because you wear your jeans and things to practice, and then you put on your fancy concert clothes, and then the guitar slips off your knee. And it's so that instead of wearing, some people put pieces of cloth and all of that. It looks like it's like kind of washing up cloths or something. So anyway, this is a little bit more discreet. Unfortunately, the corner tore off, so I've got another one to put on, and that means that it sits and it never slips. That's the idea. Okay. So this guitar, I have probably had about 10 or 11 from him over the years. First one was about mid-90s. And I've been using his guitars basically all the time since the mid-90s. And the typical thing, you get one and he makes another one that's better and so on. And I had one that I used for quite a long time that I saw others that seemed to be better than mine, but wasn't. Every time he offered me one, I'd have it for a while and give it back. But then I took one and it was great, it was definitely better. And then he showed me this one about 2 months later. And we met up somewhere in a festival, and he said, "Well, David, I've got another guitar I want you to see." And I thought, "Oh, damn it, I want that one, not the one, new one." Anyway, he said he decided that he was going to keep this for himself. Because, guitar makers usually have their worst guitar in their guitar shop, the one that they didn't want to sell, or that they couldn't sell. So, if you go to visit a guitar maker, the only guitar that they have to show is the lemon that they want to get rid of. So he wanted to have a different situation, not really because he needed to show them to people, but he wanted to have, he plays, and so he wanted to have what he thought was the one that came out the most balanced, the best, and the beautiful sound and everything. So he had, and the idea was that if he made another one up to this standard, I would exchange for that one. So he kept it for 2 years, and then he gave me. Well, again, he exchanged, for the previous one, and it's a great guitar.
So that will be different then to the one you played on in 2010 when you were here.
Yes, because this is actually from 2010, and I didn't get it for a couple of years, so I didn't get it till about 2012.
Okay, so it's its debut, but not yours.
Oh, it's a double top. Right, and some people complain. Most of the people who complain don't know what they're talking about. And I sometimes in internet, or in Facebook, some people put some stuff up. I just kind of don't want to answer it because it's a bit like people used to complain about cedar. Cedar, it'll die soon. Cedars won't last for 10 years. It's not true. My old Ramirez. I mean, it's from 1975. It sounds fantastic still, and it's so. if it's built well, it'll last forever. And the double tops are one huge advantage for a travelling musician. And cedar already has an advantage over spruce. There are other good things about spruce, which I'll say. I mean, the tone of spruce is fantastic, I think. But if you go from a really dry place to a really wet place, the spruce really kind of changes, and so does the cedar, but the spruce changes a lot, so it has really bad days and really good days, and you never really know. The double top hardly changes. It's so solid. It's not solid is the wrong word, because it's secure, you know, because it's actually lighter and maybe even more fragile than a normal top. But by being thicker with the kind of corrugation in between, it doesn't expand and contract as much with humidity and heat. And you know, on this, I mean, this isn't, maybe this month is not normal for me, but still, I was in the United States. I went home for one day. United States, it was like hot and horrible. Home, it was dry. North of France, Ireland. Now I'm here. I'm going to the south of Spain now, and it's incredibly dry in Cordoba.
And it's tropical here.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable. You know, the guitars all crack, and so as a working travelling musician, this is like solid.
Yeah. Well, the idea that you have of a sound and what you're going to do, and all the ideas that you have musically, they're going to happen.
Do that. Yes, and you know, I know that I'm not going to pull this out and it's having a bad day. You know, if it sounds bad, it's my fault.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course.
So I can fix my nails. I can do something to make it sound better. And it's got great balance. And, so, and there are a million other reasons why. I mean, Matthias is a genius, and he makes guitars for many other guitarists, like for Manuel Barrueco, and what he does for Manuel is quite different to what he does for me, because Manuel wants not only another sound, but another reaction to the instrument, and he gets it.
I'm always taken with it's such a dark sound, you know, it's a fantastic, the colour.
Which is perhaps, for some people, a worry, if you like, you know. But you can go from either side. You get a guitar that is too bright, and then work it, you know, that maybe is naturally on the bright side, which I played before. The John Gilbert guitars I used for years, which is almost violently bright, and then you have to spend all your time kind of rounding off. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's not a smooth ride for the player, you know. Maybe as you get older, you want a Mercedes rather than a Ferrari, you know, something that will just be a little forgiving. And this is a lot more forgiving. But the problem with a lot of Damans and other guitars that are built like this is that often the bright side is difficult to get. So, but I can get that side, you know. It's not always. Always too dark. So he's quite happy to go. Which is, I want to be able to do that. But that was a big discussion with Matthias over now more than 20 years. Whereas he likes big fat sound. Matthias, I like a big fat sound. Once in a while, you know, a piece of fudge at the end. I don't want to I want to be able to get the lighter sound, and the bright end is really important.
This is just something that I feel sometimes when I listen to the guitars. It's so good for the early music, the Baroque music. You play so much Baroque music, and you made so many great transcriptions that probably so many of the people in the room have been trying to play, and you know.
I hope not trying. I hope doing it really well.
Sure. I try. You know, your transcriptions are great, but they're really hard. You know.
You got to cheat. Take some notes out.
Exactly. But you know, is that something that you thought about with the relationship with Matthias or the guitar, or were you thinking of a guitar for all repertoire, or were you ever leaning one way, or you know?
It would be nice to have several guitars. That, you know, you have some guitars that do really well for Spanish music, and maybe not so good for others. But you know, it's just impractical.
Exactly, you can't take a guitar for every piece.
Can't take several around, you know. And for a while when I was playing pieces like Koyumbaba and things where you have really weird tuning, and sometimes I borrow a guitar and have two guitars, but it was really for the tuning problem rather than one is going to be good for Spanish tune, another. But so I think, you know, we each have to end up with something like it's like a weapon that will do a bit of this and a bit of that, and most of the middle stuff. You know, really, that's what we need. And then it's up to us to be able to pull the instrument in each direction. You know.